Oh, snap. Oh, snap. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Double meal combo, double deal combo meal today. 2 streams one day, one this afternoon at 12 noon. We're back here now at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to welcome everybody into the live show. We're on the mothership tonight. And I'm glad that you all are here to join us. It's May 18th, 2023. I cannot believe that this year is like, it's flying by. It's flying by. It's going crazy. It's flying by. Look at the beard. I touched up the beard a little bit today. Combed in some of that just for men today. uh, I was like, oh my God, I've been noticing on the streams, like my beard's been so gray. I'm like, oh no, I'm starting to feel like really old right now. I'm starting to feel really old. So I went out and got a little touch of gray, touched it up, hid some of the gray. Not too bad, not too shabby. Enjoying that so far. But wow, time goes by quick in life. And all I have to say is relish and cherish the moments that you are in. And I know this sounds really, I guess, for the content we speak about, but tomorrow is not guaranteed. And make sure that you hug your loved ones, love your friends, build those relationships back with your friends and your family that may have been broken for years, because you never know. They may be gone. You may be gone tomorrow. They may be gone tomorrow, and you don't have that opportunity. So, yeah, I guess that's my opening statement. But tonight we have a lot to get into this evening. I'm going to back up a little bit from this afternoon, talk about a few things that we brought that we brought on board this afternoon. And going forward, Saturday night we'll have the Super Show, Saturday Night Live, back here on the mothership. I'm going to have Laura in the house hanging out. We have a lot to go through in the new documents. We're going to talk about the indictment, but we'll get to tonight's show. So as we know, it's been a pretty crazy 48 hours with this indictment. I actually came on live on Wednesday. Was he indicted? Wednesday. Yes. What's today? Thursday. Yesterday. Yeah. 24, 48 hours. But I take you back to 48 hours because early in the morning on Wednesday, 2, maybe 3 a.m., there was some tweets going out. I know Ashley Banfield tweeted that a little birdie chirped in her ear and said that grand jury indictment Bryan Kohberger. Now, I got that news early morning on Wednesday when I got up. It was probably about 6:30, 7 o'clock. I saw my chat blowing up and I saw all the tweets starting to come out. And I said, well, I know like Banfield's media, I'm going to wait a little bit to see if this actually gets into print. So I waited. I knew that I was going to do a live yesterday, waited till noon. I kept checking, and boom, like at about 11:30, I like literally my breath, like I stopped and I saw Fox News drop the article. Bryan Kohberger's been indicted on all 4 counts, 5 counts, because you have the 4 counts of first degree murder and the 1 count of burglary. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to like literally I had my show planned out and my format literally changed within minutes. I'm like, I have to reformat the show. We're going to lead with this story. And I don't know, I might have been really the first live show that broke the news to actually confirm it when it was confirmed by the news media in print. So really, really good stuff there. Really, really good stuff. And I'm just going to pull this up. Let's see. Deb Blair says, so true about tomorrow, but sometimes you need to let your relationships go on for your own good so you can enjoy life. There's no shame in that. Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? We can come back and try to make a difference and maybe try to patch some of those relationships that we are, that we've been trying to think about. So anyway, the first thing I want to get into is a lot of people were questioning, and if you were here earlier in the show, earlier this afternoon, I brought this up too. A lot of people were talking about the burglary charge. Why is this burglary charge? Why this burglary charge? And essentially, what happens in Idaho law is with a burglary charge, if you look this by their definition of their code statutes, 18-1401. So burglary is defined, and this is Idaho law. It's under Title 18, Crimes and Punishment, Burglary, Chapter 14. Each person who enters any house, room, apartment, tenement, store, shop, warehouse, mill, barn, stable, outhouse, that's funny, or a building, tent, vessel, vehicle, trailer, airplane, or railroad car with the intent to commit any theft or any felony is guilty of burglary. So the felonies here are first degree murder. And I was asking, I was like, why would they put that in there? Essentially, burglary means that you were not welcome into the house. You got into the house, and then there was a commission of a crime. So that kind of sticks that whole first degree murder charges as well. So just to get some clarity on that, what burglary is defined by Idaho law, I wanted to just do that for you all. Second thing I wanted to bring up too, before we get into Peter's videos, is talking about the actual indictment. So this is the actual indictment that's been posted on the legal dump. I call it the legal dump website. You'll see the case number up there. You have the indictment. This is the formal indictment. It says Bryan C. Kohberger is accused by the grand jury of the Latah County by his indictment of the crimes of burglary, Idaho Code 18-1401, 1403, and felony count 1, murder of the first degree, count 2, count 3, count 4. Count 1, burglary, the defendant Bryan C. Kohberger on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit a felony crime of murder. Count 2 is the first degree murder charge for Madison Mogan. Count 3 is the first degree murder charge of Kaylee Gonsalves. Count 4 is the murder charge for Xana, and count 5 is the murder charge for Ethan. We scroll down here. It says all of which is contrary to the form, force, and effect of the statutes in such case made and provided against the peace and dignity of the state of Idaho. And you'll see this. It was signed on the 16th of May, 2023, and it was presiding grand juror, Latah County state of Idaho. And you can see where the signature there is on that bottom signature line, but obviously be redacted to probably protect the name of the person that that signed off. So I just wanted to show that. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you have, because it's been out there on all of the channels. So what I wanted to do also is talk about what we can expect on Monday. So Monday morning at 9 a.m., Bryan Kohberger, it will be in court. He will go to court and will be formally charged. He will get his opportunity to enter his plea. If he doesn't plead guilty, then he'll get set a trial date. Also, there's a gag order hearing on Monday as well. But I was actually watching Emily D. Baker earlier, if you were in my stream, and she basically said that meeting may be canceled or is canceled. I don't have any clarification on that. It's kind of floating around, and even says she doesn't really even understand it right now. So we may see that's that hearing for the gag order. And it's strange because there's two of them. There's the media meeting, and then the Gonsalves family has a meeting as well. And it looks like they kind of combined both of them together, which is kind of strange. But those hearings are supposed to take place at 10 a.m. So Kohberger at 9, 10 a.m. for the gag order. Not sure if the gag order meetings are still going to continue, but we'll just basically have to see on Monday. And again, I could be wrong on that. And I know Emily was even kind of mixed up on that as well, too. So I think the interesting thing is we're actually going to get to see video of Bryan Kohberger for the first time since like December, January. And there's some things that I would probably take note of. We're going to obviously look at his physical changes. Has he gained or lost any weight? Maybe take some notes on his on what his mental state is. I've known in the past, seeing videos of him going in and out of the courtroom, anytime we get any glimpse of him, that he's been very consciously aware of where the media is and where things are around him. I know in one of the videos, it showed him when he got up. I think it was in Pennsylvania before they shipped him back to Idaho on that flight. He gets up and leaves the courtroom and actually pushes his chair in. So he's very aware of his environment around him. and he's very aware of the media because you can always see his eyes where the cameras are. He's always looking. And then, yeah, and like I said, just really pay attention. I mean, I think we're all at the point now of like, what's this guy going to be looking like? It's been almost 5 months since we've seen him, out in the public. So, I'll end with that. And then, look, there's going to be a lot going on in this trial, a lot of back and forth. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns because we don't know all of the evidence yet, but there's going to be lots of drama in this case. And I know everybody is salivating right now for that opening statement to get a clarification of what happened. What happened that night? What were the events leading up to what happened that night? How did this all come together? How did they get Bryan Kohberger to this point and to be indicted? So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of some, context here, a lead in as to what's going to be happening. And I did scout around a little bit today, and I came across some videos before I actually get into Peter's videos. There was a video from the Daily Mail. This was posted about 6 days ago, and this is a new theory about Bryan Kohberger's storage unit. And I know that has been a hot topic of conversation too. So let's bring that up and we'll go through this.
Newly released police documents in the Idaho murder case have given us the biggest clue so far about how law enforcement may be searching for the knife that was used to kill these 4 students. We also now definitively know that 2 reddish-brown stains that were taken for lab testing from Kohberger's apartment preliminarily tested positive for blood. Now, I sifted through 166 pages of these new documents, most of which just repeated information that we already knew about the investigation, but there were a few pretty fascinating, pretty telling tidbits that we weren't already aware of. Now, the bulk of these new details are about what was seized from suspect Bryan Kohberger's apartment and what wasn't. Police executed a search warrant on Kohberger's off-campus apartment on December 30th, a few hours after he was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. Now, cops wore body cameras. The entire search was filmed. So at trial, we are likely to see some or all of exactly how this played out. I don't know about you, but I'm fascinated by Bryan Kohberger, and I'm really curious to see how
everybody is at this point. I got a $2 Canadian super chat, $2.20 from Victorine. Thank you so much, Victorine. She said, "Welcome to the show, everybody." Yes, welcome to the show, everybody. I appreciate you so much. I've kind of, I know, and I apologize. I know I used to kind of like bring in the panel, bring in the show. I'm just trying to get the show kind of moving a little bit more. So it's not anything against that. I'm just trying some different tactics now. I've been looking at my analytics and just trying to get a little bit more watch time on things. So basically that's why I don't really bring in the chat, but I see all you guys. I acknowledge everybody and I appreciate everybody being here. And I stop the show at least once in a live and welcome everybody in and thank them. So
how he lived. The 28-year-old lived alone in Pullman, Washington at the time. He rented a 2-bedroom apartment through Washington State University, where he was a PhD student and a teaching assistant. Now, I have been to this condo complex. It's really close to campus, but not really walkable. It was quiet and brawling. Now, Kohberger's home was on the 2nd floor here in this end unit. The whole place is pretty nondescript, as was apparently the inside. Kohberger's space sounded pretty bleak, to be honest. An investigator on the scene reported that the apartment was sparsely furnished and fairly empty of belongings. And something that stood out to me as being glaringly weird, for lack of a better word, he didn't have a shower curtain. Now, that could mean absolutely nothing, but it strikes me as definitely odd. Who hasn't seen a crime thriller where something nefarious was wrapped up in a shower curtain? But at least in these police documents, no one seemed alarmed by this. Once inside, crime scene investigators presumptively tested more than 50 items for blood. A screwdriver, a pizza cutter, a light switch, things like that. Really anything that had a dark brown or reddish stain. The vast majority of these things tested negative, but 2 spots in Kohberger's bedroom preliminarily tested positive. There were 2 reddish-brown stains on an uncased pillow from Kohberger's bed, and only one of them was tested. But when that came back positive, the item was taken into evidence and then sent to the lab, so both of them will likely be tested. There was also a brown irregular drip stain found on a mattress pad. Now, this mattress pad sounded pretty gross. There were, quote, multiple stains on it. Now, like the pillow, this first stain they tested came back with an initial positive result. Now, when that was detected, investigators ended up bagging the whole thing and sent it off to the lab. Now, these stains will go through more rigorous testing to determine if they are, in fact, blood. And then that will be compared against the suspect's DNA,
100%.
as well as the DNA profiles of the 4 victims.
Bro.
Obviously, if any of these are a match to the blood of Ethan Chapin, Maddie Mogen, Xana Carnota, or Kaylee Gonsalves, that will be a huge boon for the prosecution and a major hurdle for the defense. Kohberger's apartment was 2 bedrooms, but since it was leased through the university, he only leased one of those. He didn't have access to the other one. It was locked per WSU housing protocol, and investigators don't believe that Kohberger ever entered it. It seems that before leaving for his cross-country drive with his father at the end of the semester, Bryan Kohberger tidied up the place. Investigators noted that all of the trash cans had been emptied. Not too surprising. They also discovered a round padlock inside of a coat closet, and the key to that lock was found on his TV stand. Now, the lock belongs to one of the storage units available to the residents of the Steptoe apartments. Kohberger's unit G201 did have a storage closet assigned, and investigators found it with the door open and completely empty.
Good theory, Paul.
When I read this, alarm bells started going off in my head. Bryan Kohberger may never have had anything in the storage closet, but something about the door being ajar and the area being empty just does not sit right with me. And it didn't sit right with investigators. In documents, an officer on the scene said that they believed the unit was, quote, likely accessed between the time of the murders and Kohberger's trip home to Pennsylvania. And more importantly, quote, it is also believed the storage closet could contain trace evidence. Police were so convinced of this hunch that they asked the judge to amend the search warrant so they could legally look through the storage closet. Unfortunately, police didn't collect any evidence because they noted there were cobwebs going into the closet and dust all over the floor, indicating to them that the unit hadn't been used recently. But what is recently? It might be different to you or me. You have to remember, this search was conducted 7 weeks after the murders. I don't know about you, but I know for me, my apartment gets a nice coat of dust settling down in just a few days when I'm cleaning it regularly, and that's with me and my family living in it. So I don't know. I believe there is more that can be learned from this storage unit, and it's plausible that this space was used to store items relating to the murders temporarily before they were disposed of. And if that happened in the immediate aftermath of the killings, that would give more than a month for dust to potentially settle and cobwebs to form. So I want to dive a little deeper into this theory, and a caveat here, Kohberger is charged with quadruple homicide and burglary, but he is innocent until proven guilty. So my theory is just that, a theory. A K-bar knife sheath was discovered at the crime scene, but the knife itself was not. It appears whomever the killer was took it with them when they left. And as far as we know, the clothes that the killer was wearing the night of the murders have never been found. The night of the killings, there's a gap in time between 4:20 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. where investigators are unsure of Bryan Kohberger's alleged movements. At 4:20, CCTV footage near the crime scene captures a white car, which cops believe is Kohberger driving in his Hyundai Elantra, leaving the area at a high rate of speed. Now, the suspect's phone was off the grid all night, but at 4:48 a.m., it pings a tower south of Moscow, Idaho. Where it pings is in the middle of a sprawling farmland, which is pitch black at that time of night.
We've seen video of that. I think Brian Enton or one of them, this young lady might actually went out there too, and she's taken video, and it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's just dark. There's no street lights. There's nothing. It's just all farmland out that way.
One theory so far was that the killer may have discarded bloody clothes and the murder weapon along that route. But now knowing that he had access to a private storage closet makes me lean away from that theory. Police say there was a significant amount of blood at the scene, and it's likely that the perpetrator's clothes and shoes were covered in it. So, along with the knife, the killer would have had to get rid of the clothes they were wearing at the time. It is not out of.
I think you're all going to be surprised on Saturday when we get up this all together about the informant that everybody's been talking about. So come check it out on Saturday. We'll have a presentation for you guys. And I think, again, I think what you all need to do, and I urge this, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody or what's that, cut anybody down. But I urge everybody that watches these channels or watches my chat, there is the link. Go in and read the documents. Everything is inside those documents. And it's funny because every time we pull it up, and we go through it and put it together, everybody goes, "Oh, aha. All those answers are inside those documents." They're all in there. That's why I urge everybody, go when you hear a conspiracy theory or whatever, get in there and read those documents. Everything is in there. You can piece this all together. We've been doing on this channel for 4 months. We've been piecing all this together. So I urge everybody, go read those documents. It's important. It's
The
important
realm
to
of
read those
possibilities to
documents.
think that the suspect would have taken them home with him and kept them hidden so that they could be disposed of later. Now, it is just speculation, but my gut tells me that the killer probably had a clean set of clothes in his car and changed out of the bloody ones somewhere along that dark rural road so he didn't return home covered in the blood of the victims on the off chance someone saw him. A perp, particularly one with extensive knowledge of the criminal justice system and law enforcement, would probably not want to keep those things, bloody clothes, a knife, in their home.
Right.
So a padlocked storage closet is not a bad place. Now, there isn't any evidence that we know of that Kohberger kept anything in his storage unit or emptied it, but it's worth a deeper look. It's not clear if there are any security cameras in the storage area, but there are a bunch on the WSU campus. And we know this because they were utilized to track Bryan Kohberger's movements on the night of the murders. If it were me, I would have been canvassing residents to see if the suspect was seen going in or out of the storage unit between the time of the killings and his arrest. And I would want to scour those nearby CCTV cameras to look for any time that white Hyundai Elantra was seen leaving his apartment during the same time frame to determine where he was going. It could lead investigators to potential places that the alleged murder weapon or those bloody clothes were discarded. And there's a good chance that this is exactly what law enforcement is already doing. And we won't know until the preliminary hearing. Moscow police have done a masterful job so far at not tipping their hand regarding this investigation. They may have found the clothes already, the murder weapon, or any number of damning pieces of evidence in the course of their investigation. So I am gearing up for a bombshell week in court next month.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the judge has issued a gag order in this case, this is a constantly evolving story. So make sure you are checking dailymail.com for the latest.
All right. That is from Daily Mail. And unfortunately, I forget her name off the top of my head. She's a very good journalist. I always love her presentations. So I apologize. I forget her name. So what I wanted to do here, and I was very, very shocked that I saw this video. I dug this one up, and this has really been the first time that we've seen Steve Gonsalves in quite a while. This was on Banfield last night, and Steve Gonsalves is going to speak. So let's hear what he has to say.
Not to pry and
He
ask.
looks really different. I mean, looks really different. Almost has a very defiant look about him, obviously very tired. And the thing that I want everybody to take note of in this video, and I'm only giving my opinion in this, he's going to talk about in the very beginning of this video about Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen basically talking about the night of what happened. And you can see in his body language that he almost has some clarity as to what happened. And he doesn't look angry or disgusted when he talks about it. So I think things are starting to really get clearer for him. So, and again, I'm only speculating. This is just my opinion watching the video. I'm going to play it for all of you so you can base your opinions. You don't have to agree with me, but let's play this and we'll let you guys decide what you think.
Which of the not to pry and ask which of the girls you were talking to, but did she give details about some of what she's been processing in these 6 months?
Well, between all the different families, I think both girls are talking. They're talking to somebody. One might be talking to me, one might be talking to someone else. So I think we have a good understanding of some of the details that haven't been made public, but we're just holding it close to the chest, and we're making sure that everything goes through the court processes and everybody gets a fair shot and everything is done in the right order to mothers and fathers that really don't have any idea how this should work. We never seen ourselves in this spot, and we're just living one day by day.
There's no playbook, for this, and it's a very exclusive club. I often say, very unwelcome, exclusive club that you're a member of, Steve. You are. I don't know where you get the strength and the fortitude, but you were there when Kohberger made that first appearance in.
And it's funny too, because I watched this video and I watch his body language, and I think he's getting a better understanding of what happened that night. And I go back to an article that I preferenced a couple of days ago, and Christy made some comments about, if Bryan Kohberger came and cross paths with our daughter, we still don't understand how that happened. And it's strange. It's just a very, very strange thing. But I think now they're starting to get some clarity as to what happened. It's just a wild case. It's a wild, strange case.
January. Are you planning to be there on Monday?
Yeah, I'm going to stick to the message that this family will do everything in its power to make sure that if everything rolls out and we know for a fact with the evidence that this is the person, then he's got pit bulls after him. So we're going to be there at every moment, analyzing every piece of data, going through everything to make sure that it is the right person, and we hold them accountable.
100%.
And that kind of pressure has to come from more than just one parent. It has to come from all of us, and that's what we're working on. I know on Monday I won't be the only parent down there. There'll be other families there, and I think it's a moment of solidarity that we're getting more and more people active, and you got to give people time to figure out how they want to respond and how they're going to just wake up and deal with an everyday situation. But they're all starting to get their power and their strength, and they're all ready to go to court. And I think that courtroom's going to get more and more crowded.
Do you mind me asking if you know what other parents are planning to be there Monday?
Hey, do me a favor. We got 212 people watching. We're only at 82 likes. Really? Let's go down there and smash that like button. Let's at least get to 100. When we get to 100 likes, I'm going to give away a free membership tonight. Let's get those likes moving. Come on, let's upvote the stream. We'll get to 100 likes. I'm going to give away a free membership.
I don't want to put them on the hook in case they wake up that morning and they don't feel like going. But I know of 2 other families that are planning on being there. We're
at 90
organizing even the path that we get down there together. So anything can happen, and everyone has the ability to decide to change their mind.
All right, we're at 103. Let's give away a membership. I'm feeling generous tonight. I thank everybody for watching this channel, getting this channel to grow. I really, really do appreciate it. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers. I'm at 4,866 right now. Once we do that, I'm going to do a celebration 5,000 subscriber stream, and maybe we'll give away a nice prize for that stream. All right, we're going to give away a membership right here. Let's welcome a new member to the group, and the member is, I can't see it quite yet. The new member is Who did I give it away to? Crime Solver. Crime Solver is the new member. The new member. Welcome to the membership group. You got a free month on me.
I'll
Free
be
month
there. I won't be
on
changing my mind, and
me.
we'll have at least 9 seats of us there. And I hope that some of the other families feel that
Thank you,
the
Moon.
more
Bye.
uncomfortable we
Appreciate
can make this room, and the more that we can represent each person that was
Yep, you're
robbed
welcome.
of their lives, the best we can do. I mean, it's not going to fix the
No.
situation, but there should be some accountability when you take people that are special.
Let me go back because I'm kind of missed some of that in kind of the malaise of what was just going on. I'm gonna rewind a little bit so we can kind of hear that again. I'm gonna go back about 2 minutes because this is important. You know, this is the first time we're really hearing Steve in months talk. It seems like he's a little bit more, I don't want to say calmer, but like you know, Krampus was saying, it's a different stage of grief now. And I can only imagine. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't even imagine being in his place. But he's strong. They'll get through this, and we really need to. We really need to support Steve and his family, and all the rest of these families as well too. So let's keep playing through this.
Do you mind me asking if you know what other parents are planning to be there Monday?
I don't want to put
Thank
them on
you.
the hook in case they wake up that morning and they don't feel like going. But I know of 2 other families that are planning on being there.
Yes,
We're
remember.
organizing even the path that we get down there together. So anything can happen, and everyone has the ability to decide to change their mind. But I'll be there. I won't be changing my mind, and we'll have at least 9 seats of us there. And I hope that some of the other families feel that the more uncomfortable we can make this room, and the more that we can represent.
It's funny that you say that because, you know, Bobby says, you know, he's overcome the initial stage of shock he was during the earlier statements, of course, you know, and now you go through these different stages of your life. And I think now he's kind of in that determined stage now that there's some clarity as to where this is going next. So I think he's in the determined stage, and you can see it. You can see it on his face. You know, he's got some facial hair now. You know, he looks a little bit more determined in his body language as well. So I think that's where we're at. Thank you so much. Carrie H has gifted a monthly membership to, let's see, who got it? Reba. Reba is a new monthly member. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate your contribution. All right, let's keep playing through this.
Each person that was robbed of their lives, the best we can do. I mean, it's not going to fix the situation, but there should be some accountability when you take people that are special.
We've been showing some of the pictures of the scene of the crime, which will be featured heavily in this trial. I know the university was going to keep you updated as to the plans to demolish 1122 King Road. They said it would happen during the semester. Now the semester is over. Have they kept their word at the university and kept you informed about the plan for the demolition? And as well as that, have all the parents been able to pick up their kids' belongings for the final time?
We have not been able to pick those things up, which we would understand that might be very close to the moment that it's down, that it's going to be torn down, like maybe equipment's moving in. So we've pushed back a little bit just because different parents have seen different court cases and have tried to get themselves, self-educated on what we're going to go through. And they've found cases where important evidence had been discovered, and they went back to the crime scene and actually it clarified things for different jury members. I don't know the exact story, but I just know that that's a reality that has been spoken to me. So we pushed back and said, hey, let's wait on this until at least everybody's on the same page, including the defendant. I want the defendant to be able to say, there's nothing in that house that's important to us. I want the truth. We want the right person. So we have every motion to sit back and say, hey, we can slow this down. We don't have to rush anything. I understand it's a little difficult for the community, but we all have to come together and we have to do what's right for these young adults that were put in this situation, and we're the only voices that they have. So we've asked to slow that down, and they've respected that.
Steve Gonsalves, it's good to see you again and talk to you again. I can't thank you enough for volunteering to be on this program with us. And I know that a lot of the people who are watching right now, if you can feel it, they're sending their love to you just like we are as well.
Well, I think people take away too much, with stuff like this. Like, we want the right person. You have to keep in mind, Bryan Kohberger right now is innocent until proven guilty. And I'm sure that Steve has talked to his lawyer. I'm sure Steve's had some guidance when he goes on and does these particular types of interviews. I'm sure his lawyer says, be very careful what you say. And these are the things that you have to say. Because right now, again, I want to make this very clear to everybody in here. And I think this is why conspiracy theories start on other channels. And I'm sure this video will be picked and probed, and there'll be a fucking live about it. And they're going to rewind it 40 million times. They're going to say, you have to think, these people are being coached by lawyers right now. They're being told to say the correct things. He can't come on here and say Bryan Kohberger is the guy that did this. He's guilty, blah, blah, blah. Because what if he's not guilty? What if this goes to trial and he's found not guilty? Then they can be sued. They have to be very careful. That's why I urge a lot of YouTubers that come on and make this particular type of content, be very careful what you say, because it can come back to get you. So that's the thing. And Gator's saying it. Yep. Take no chances. No room forever. I feel the prosecution's playing some games and may come back to hurt them. Steve is right. So you have to be very, very careful in what you say. And again, Chosen has it here too. It says, look at all the evidence before us. Look at all the evidence. The evidence is there. It's to put it all together and connect all those dots. Look at your dates. Look at the timeline. Look at all the information that's out there. So I just want to be very clear in that. I think people take these things and they run with them. I'm sure this will be ran with. I'm not trying to come at you. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand clarity in this. And I think people run with this stuff and it starts conspiracy. He's not stupid. He's not going to come on here and start implicating Bryan Kohberger. That would be the wrong thing to do. And that's why I always say, as much as I feel like the evidence is very strong against Bryan Kohberger, obviously he's been indicted now, but he's still innocent until proven guilty. He still has his day in court. He still has to go through the judicial process, and he's due that. As an American citizen, he has that right. And we'll figure this all out. We'll figure it all out. And if it's not Bryan Kohberger, then we'll be on this panel and we'll keep going through all of this evidence and we will figure it out. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate everybody coming along for the ride. That's what we're going to do here. And we stick to the facts. We stick to the evidence. And we pay tribute to these families, because I'm not going to put something out there because I consciously would not feel good starting conspiracy theory and putting that out there, knowing how this man is grieving right now. And, and I've said this 1,000 times, and I know I repeat this a lot, and people probably get sick of me saying this. Our lives go on. Technically, we know nothing about these people. We know absolutely nothing. We know what media reports have said, and we know what these documents say about them. And we know what they're about based on the limited interviews that we've had from these people. But to sit here and talk shit about them and make them the bad people, and that's the thing that's really disgusting in all this. And I've seen this turn in like the last month in the media and on some of these, I call them fringe YouTube channels, how these people, these 4 young kids were brutally murdered, but all of a sudden they're the bad people. I don't get that. I don't get that. And I don't get how someone can consciously go to bed at night and feel good about saying stuff like that. I just don't see it. These kids didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve this. They didn't know this was coming. They didn't deserve this. So, and these families didn't deserve it. This community and these schools, and, it's affecting 2 colleges. It's affecting that area. There's people that live in that area and have to live. And every time they walk by that house, they have to look and say, this brutal murder took place in this house. that house will be burnt into my brain for the rest of my life. 1122. I'll always say that. 1122, 1122. That'll be with me for the rest of my life. I have no connection to these people. I have a YouTube channel that I make content and get their story out there. I guess I have a mild connection, but I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. And you don't either. You don't know anything about their lives. And it's a shame that we have to find out about them in a murder trial. That's how we're going to learn about their lives. So think about that. Think about that. Sorry, I'm soapboxing right now. I'm soapboxing right now. All right, let's.
And to Christy and the kids as well. Our best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
All right, that's Banfield. Okay. Real quick, I saw another gift in membership. I think. Oh, I'm just behind in the chat. I'm sorry. I have a chat running up here and a chat running here. I want to look up here at the poll that I have running. So I put a poll up before we came in, 159 votes. Right now it stands at this. Do you think the grand jury indictment was the best decision at this point? 72% say yes, 20% say no. And then I asked, who's Harry Crumb? We have 8% of the people that voted for who's Harry Crumb. All right. So what we're going to get to now is Mr. Gorgeous himself. All the ladies are going to melt. I'm going to bring him in. I fooled you guys this time. I actually have him live on my show. No, I wish I did. I know that your heart's probably just skipped a beat. But listen, Peter, my platform's open to you, buddy. Love to spend 20 minutes with you. Come on over and hang out on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. All right. Peter did some reactions to the new document dump. This was about 2 days ago. Let's play through some of this. And then I have his 2 follow-up videos when the actual indictment hit that as well. So let's play through here. I'm going to just skip through his intro.
Again for a second try. Good morning and welcome in to more Bryan Kohberger discussions. Hopefully you can hear me now. If you can, let me know in the live chat. I actually unplugged my mic and plugged it back in to kind of move it around on this arm, but
thank you, Johnny.
It's working now, so we should all be good. And it's less than 24 hours after our last Bryan Kohberger update.
He's a handsome man.
More
I feel ugly being on
legal proceedings and filings and documents coming through, which again, I hope
some likes going.
This seems like, at least for our channel,
people watching,
and earlier on
that like button going,
jumping on board in this case to see exactly how the process goes and how much goes into it. And why these things are delayed and why the court system takes so long is because one side will ask for something. If the other side doesn't want to give it, they just wait the time period, and you can't file a motion to compel until after the time period. And usually after you send a 10-day letter, a good faith letter saying, please provide these documents. We think they're relevant. Then you object, then you file a motion, then you have to get hearing time. And in the gag order, we see how difficult hearing time can be, even when something is seen as an immediate need causing irreparable harm. So you can see how this stuff takes a long time. But these specific documents that were filed, when I saw them pop up, they seem like just normal responses to motions to compel and additional discovery requests.
Thank you so
But there are some really interesting factors that can come and things we can learn from the discussions going back and forth between Bryan Kohberger and the state. We can learn what there is, what they're going through, what each side thinks that they have. And
so keep in mind, this is going to talk about that exculpatory. Oh, I think I said it. Exculpatory evidence. I think I got it. So this was 2 days before. We're going to play a little bit of this, and then we'll play when the indictment hit. He did a stream actually pre-indictment. Then the indictment dropped. He came back for about another 20 minutes and talked about that. So this is pre-indictment. It's about 2 days ago. And I will say exculpatory.
All of the parties involved know that these documents will be public. And we're talking about both sides who want a gag order. Some may say the gag order is overly restrictive, but both of these sides want the gag order. And they both know which documents, like these, once they get filed, if they're not under seal, which they would have to ask for and the court would have to grant, they know the public is going to see these documents. And that, to me, I think is interesting. And I think we have to keep that in mind as we read.
Well, that's why I play his material here, because, it's not bullshit. I respect him. I respect Emily Day Baker as well. I play some of her content on my channel. Like I said, we stick to the facts here. and it's not bullshit. So
defense documents that say we need you to provide exculpatory evidence to us.
I am, however, I had a lawyer that watches my channel. He reached out to me and said, hey, I'll come on the panel and give you some insight as to what's going to happen coming up in this trial. So I'm working on getting that gentleman on. We're just kind of commuting back and forth. I'm just waiting for him to get back to me. He said that he would give me his time, which was really nice. And we may take him up on that. Maybe we can get him for half an hour, and we'll just get some questions together and have him on. So thanks for all the love in the chat. I appreciate all you guys. Let's bump.
And then the state calling something irrelevant.
Let's get to 200 likes before the stream
I
ends.
think that is all an indication of how the public is going to perceive these documents and this evidence that each side is discussing here. So I think that's going to be important for us to think about as we read
Andrew's
these.
here. Boston.
If you guys haven't already,
Boston,
hit that like button. I may have said it when I was muted, but you'll never know unless you're a lip reader. And also subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, because when we see new documents come up in this case, especially when it's a little bit of a slower week, we're not covering any trials or anything that's really popping off right now besides this case.
I cut my beard.
We are looking into a couple other cases.
I wish I didn't.
I can't remember the name of the case now, but it's in Utah. And I guess this woman has been charged with a crime against her husband. And she wrote a book for kids about grieving because they have kids. Seems like a wild story. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments, please. And let me know by hitting the like button. And if you subscribe, you get to become a part of this community and picking what content we discuss on the channel. So let's get into, first we'll go with the state's response to the motion to compel, which has some interesting aspects to it.
God, he's got a good head of hair, doesn't he? Son of a bitch.
All right, here we go.
I used to have hair like that.
State's response to defendant's motion to compel discovery comes now. The state of Idaho, by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, and submits the following response to the motion to compel discovery filed by the defendant on May 4th, 2023.
I had hair like that.
By way of background, here's what happened, and here's what we provided. Okay, and this is, we're going to jump right into it as we discuss these first parts that were provided. Approximately 10,000 pages of reports and other written materials, approximately 10,200 photographs, approximately 9,200 tips. Think about that.
Just the
people
tip.
Trying to figure out what happened.
Just
people providing tips. 9,200. And then number 4, approximately 51 terabytes of audio, video, media, and digital materials. Now, some of you are probably more.
But then again, just found you weak. I always wear my hat. I've worn a hat since I came out of my mom out of the womb. I'm not ashamed. I'm a bald-headed guy. I lost my hair. It was funny because everybody in my family went bald at like 18. My dad was bald at like 15. And I used to always laugh at the family reunions because I was the only one that had hair. And my hair caught up to me probably just about, it was always thinning a little bit, my crown, and then my front caught up. And probably right about the pandemic, I shaved my hair. My hair was starting to get really long. We couldn't get to a barber, and I buzzed my hair, and it never really grew back. And I think just with stress and all that shit and age, it caught up to me, but I really don't care. I say this, if you're a balding guy, just shave your fucking head and embrace it. It's only hair. Women are going to love you still. And just think about it. Some of the most sexy guys in Hollywood, what are they? They're bald. Embrace it. It's all right. It's fine. But I always wear a hat. Always wear a hat. Always, always, always.
More of an expert than I am on how big that is, but it's
sexiness,
huge. If you think about like phones these days that can carry everything are 1 terabyte.
And the fun thing is, if you're bald, shave your head, grow a beard. You know, it's a perfect time to grow a beard. Experiment with that.
So 51 terabytes.
Thank you.
And I think that's like the upgraded data storage on a phone. So that's a lot of stuff that they provided in Discovery. And this does a couple things. Okay. Providing this information as the state does a couple things.
Shave his head.
Number 1.
It's all right. Embrace it.
It looks like you're being very open and you're providing a lot in Discovery, which is the point of Discovery. Provide everything you have. That's number 1.
P Fox.
Number 2. you look like you've already answered all of the questions and provided everything that they've asked for. We're going to get more into the motions to compel and specifically what the defense requested and whether or not the state did this. But if you think about this many documents and you see this as the public, all of you are saying, wow, that's a lot. 51 terabytes, that's crazy. 10,000 documents, that's crazy. But what does this also do? Well, you've seen it in movies and it happens in real life where important pieces of evidence can be buried within boxes or stacks of documents. And when you discuss 10,000 pages of reports, that's a lot of pages to go through. 10,200 photographs. It's a lot of photographs to go through. Now, anybody who's seen pictures like this in this kind of a case, if you, you take a picture of, this angle of the room, they take 25 pictures of that. So 25 pictures are the same exact picture. Right. So that sometimes that happens. And it's easier to kind of sift through them.
Let's recognize this super sticker. Sandra's giving me a $10, $9.99 super sticker, $9.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. That's what we say here in Massachusetts. Super sticker.
But then you talk about 9,200 tips.
Just the tip.
I got you. And when you're looking for other suspects or other people that could be connected to this case or somebody else that might have done it.
Listen, I know I keep pausing this, but I got to bring this chat up. DMC says, see, Ryan, lots of women here love bald men, so build that self-confidence up. You are great. Listen, I got no one to impress anymore. At this stage in my life, what you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. That's it. So, it is what it is. It is what it is at this point. What you see is what you
Sometimes
get.
There's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people you'd consider, but 9,200 makes it almost impossible for the defense to sift through and see which ones they think are important. They almost have to do their own analysis and their own investigation and then question law enforcement about it later, or then cross-check to see if the people they think did it or they think there's evidence that those people did it, if there is any evidence of tips or things like that from those other people. And Tina asks, isn't it their job? Yes, Tina, it is. However, some courts, and I've actually had cases, which this is the interesting way to look at this. I've actually had cases. It was a construction defect case. It was miserable. I did it because the person I represented was a family member, extended family member. And we had tons of work orders and receipts every time they went to Home Depot. And they asked for certain things specifically. And we provided them document dumps to make sure we got everything, because in good faith on our position, we wanted to make sure we provided all the documents and all the information that could potentially be relevant and we could potentially use at trial. We didn't know what was going to come up. We didn't know what was going to be an issue. If they would have said, well, you didn't pay for this chandelier. And we're like, oh, here's the Home Depot receipt that proves we did. So that's one way to think about it, is to be thorough. But the judge in that case here in Florida forced us to go through the thousands of pages of documents we produced in discovery and pull out some very specific invoices or change orders or pictures that correspond with some very specific discovery requests.
I think people fail to remember too that if you go back and actually look at the search warrant of Bryan Kohberger's apartment, I believe it's either one of the police officers or the agents that searched that apartment. Ann Taylor's defense team came into that apartment and took items out of that. And in the report, if you read it, it says that the officer or agent said that they were trying to see what was inside the box that they took. And then he asked for a document, for a follow-up document, and they still have not received that document by the time that report had gone out. So keep in mind, I know a lot of people say, oh, the prosecution's hiding things, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to play that, you got to look at the other side too. And that's why I urge people, read those documents. Don't go on what entirely I say. Don't go on entirely what other people say. But we read through the documents. You know, we read through the documents before I go live and say things. So I urge everybody, go over and read those documents. It's important. Or watch credible streams like Lawyer You Know, Emily D. Baker. They're going to give you the straight truth. It's not going to be conspiracy. These people are fucking trial lawyers. They know what they're talking about. That's the link for the document dump. Save it to your bookmark it. Go in there and check it. A lot of documents have been getting dumped on like Monday. We may see some more tomorrow. But go through and read those documents. I'm telling you, you can piece this case together if you just take some time and read through the documents. How do you think Laura comes up with all of this stuff? How do you think Laura and I come up with all of this stuff when we talk? You know, she'll come to me and say, "Hey, did you look at this?" And I'll say, "No, what page? What document? Here, check this out. What do you think?" Or vice versa. "What do you think? Do you think it could be this? Do you think it could be that?" That's how we piece this all together. And then we might reach out to maybe some of the other mods that we have in the chat, and we'll bring them in. And then we'll do a large kind of back group session where we'll do a voice chat and kind of bring everybody into a conference room and say, "Hey, what do you think about all of this?" We just did one the other night. It was a long session. And we kind of hash it out. And then we'll go forward and bring it live. And that's how we come up with material for the channel. It's how we come up with these types of things. So I urge you all, please read those documents. It's important. Or, you know, watch a credible channel like Peter's.
From the other side. So to me, I'm interested to see, I think this is going to go to hearing. And I think they're going to argue that, listen, Judge, 10,200 documents, that's not actually providing the answer to this specific question that we have. And we'll see if the judge makes the state go through and say, pick out the documents you're going to use to answer this question, or pick out the relevant documents. You've provided everything great, so it's all discovered, and in the future, there's no discovery violations and things like that. But are they making it impossible for the defendants to actually find the relevant material? Now, everything could be relevant.
So just let's see, I'm going to go back up to here. Giovanna, it's not a download. It's actually, if you go here, I'm going to drop the link in there. You can save this to your bookmark. If you click into that link, that has all the documents that dump. So you can go in and actually look all the way back to the probable cause affidavit. And it will all, you'll be able to search through all the documents. Just kind of click into them and you can look through them. So everybody's saying Peter's making a good point. I'm going to back it up because I'm missing a little bit of it because I've been talking a lot. And you guys know I like to talk. So let's back that up a little bit. Back that ass up. And we'll play this because this is important.
Dumps to make sure we got everything, because in good faith on our some courts, and I've actually had cases, which this is the interesting way to look at this.
Probably went back a little too
I've
far,
actually
but
had cases. It was a construction defect case. It was miserable. I did it because the person I represented was a family member, extended family member. And we had tons of work orders and receipts every time they went to Home Depot. And they asked for certain things specifically. And we provided them document dumps to make sure we got everything, because in good faith on our position, we wanted to make sure we provided all the documents and all the information that could potentially be relevant and we could potentially use at trial. We didn't know what was going to come up. We didn't know what was going to be an issue. If they would have said, well, you didn't pay for this chandelier. And we're like, oh, here's the Home Depot receipt that proves we did.
excuse me.
So that's one way to think about it, is to be thorough. But the judge in that case here in Florida forced us to go through the thousands of pages of documents we produced in discovery and pull out some very specific invoices or change orders or pictures that correspond with some very specific discovery requests from the other side. So to me, I'm interested to see, I think this is going to go to hearing. And I think they're going to argue that, listen, Judge, 10,200 documents, that's not actually providing the answer to this specific question that we have. And
Now, again, I want to remind you, this is pre-indictment. So Peter's just making some speculation here, what might happen next. And then we're going to get to his streams where he talks about the actual indictment. I may not play all of this, but we'll get an idea of his feeling a couple of days before the indictment.
We'll see if the judge makes the state go through and say,
yes,
pick out the documents you're going to use to answer this question, or pick out the relevant documents. You've provided everything great, so it's all discovered, and in the future, there's no discovery violations and things like that. But are they making it impossible for the defendants to actually find the relevant material? Now, everything could be relevant. Every picture could be relevant. Every document and report and tip could be relevant. And I think they're doing the right thing by providing everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm not at all saying the state is hiding anything. But sometimes if you know what you're going to use, we are not playing poker. We are not playing, I don't know, Risk or Settlers of Catan, which I've actually never played. But these games where you hold things close to the vest and you surprise people at the end. This is not what we have in our criminal justice system. The state has to provide what they're going to use to the defense. The defendant has a right to know what the evidence is against him. And while aha moments come out sometimes in trials, listen, rebuttal cases like Johnny Depp, that's different. They didn't know that existed, or they didn't know it was going to be opened the door to.
Right.
But in this case, the state is not allowed to hide the ball. The judge will not like that. And I'm not saying that's what they're doing. But that could come into play with the judge's ruling or in the hearing. So let's hear what else they said about the motion to compel. All right, defendant cites, let me make sure, did I make it big again? Yes. Defendant cites ICR 16F in support of its motion. However, the rule only refers to the procedure for responding to discovery requests. ICR 16B10 and K apply to requests for discovery orders. So there's a difference between discovery requests and discovery orders. With the above in mind, the state respectfully submits the following specific responses to items 1 through 6. So they say generally we provided thousands and terabytes of documents and photos and videos. That's generally speaking. Now we're going to talk specifics, which I think is important. The state has disclosed all items, and here's an important phrase, it is aware of. So what the state knows about, which you can't be held to know about things you don't know about, right? And something new could pop up later, as we saw in Murdoch and other cases, relating to the search and arrest of Bryan Kohberger in Pennsylvania. The state is unaware of any body cam and dash footage beyond what has already been disclosed. So there already has been body cam and dash cam footage disclosed. They're not aware of anything additional to that. Now, what's interesting about this is the defense can talk to Bryan Kohberger, and Bryan Kohberger may say, I had these other interactions. They were wearing body cams. There was dash cams, whatever, that either haven't been produced to the state or.
I think that was to slow things down. I'll be honest with you, Miss Nine. The defense, she says the defense was very specific and supplementary discovery requests. I think that was really to slow this down. That's why I think they just said, I think that's why the prosecution just came out. They said, here's what you have. This is what we got. Let's stop playing all these games. Let's just get it to a grand jury. Skip the preliminary hearing. Let's do this. I think that's what it is. Because if you look, and if you go back and look at all the documents that were dumped, there was a lot of games getting played back and forth. This chess game, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The prosecution was just like, basically, you know what? Let's just get this in front of a grand jury. Let them make the decision and see if we can take this to a grand jury. And there was enough evidence there, how they felt in this case to bring this forward, that Bryan Kohberger, according to the evidence, is the one that did this. And we'll find out. We'll find out in court. And again, he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So, they have enough to say this is the person that did this. I think that it was just the prosecution just got sick of playing the games and said, fuck it, let's just do this. So, and there was a lot of motions from the defense. We felt like they were, our opinion here on this channel was they were doing this to slow things down, to slow down the process and give them more time to prepare. I don't know. There's a lot of fucking evidence in this case. There's a lot of photos. There's 51 terabytes of video data. That's a lot. And I pulled up the other night how much an actual 1 terabyte can hold. I think like Word documents, it's like over 6 million Word documents can be in one simple terabyte. That's a lot. That's a lot. It was like over 6,000 hours of video footage, I think. I may be wrong if I go back and look, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of evidence.
Or Bryan Kohberger could be wrong. and there might not have been any camera footage from those, or, you know, I don't put anything past any of these real life cases anymore, but maybe it was destroyed or lost or whatever.
You're right,
But
Mr. Else.
they could be getting information
Unless
that
you
the
write
state
the
doesn't
book.
have because they're talking to Bryan Kohberger. Beyond what's been disclosed and on information and belief understands there is no body cam footage.
But it's funny because a couple of people have asked about that. You know, you think this guy's going to get up there and plead guilty? I don't think it's in his style. I don't think it's his style. He's going to want to see this go all the way. And why would you plead guilty, even if you were guilty at this point? You have a chance to go to court and a jury might find you not guilty. So why would you just plea right away? It doesn't make sense. You would ride the odds, in my opinion. You would ride the odds. It just wouldn't viably make sense.
Whatever we've provided is what there is, whether it's dash cam, whether it's, you know, something at the station, but there is no body cam footage. Recordings of interviews and the defendant's transportation from the scene of the arrest have also been provided. So what's confirmed there? There are recordings of interviews and the defendant's transportation from the scene of the arrest in Pennsylvania. And all of that's been provided to the defense. Now, lab reports.
100%.
We heard and read a lot about lab reports. Numerous lab reports regarding forensic evidence collection and analysis of items recovered from the defendant's parents' home,
I don't see it.
trash cans,
I
and
don't see
other
it.
receptacles, and the defendant's vehicle have been disclosed to the defendant. So, is this in the 10,000 plus pages of reports? Is the judge going to make them pull it out specifically and say, here are the lab reports? Or is it enough just to provide the document dump?
I mean, what would it matter if at that point, you know, it's better just to roll the dice. It's better just to roll the dice, even if you knew you were guilty, if there was a million pieces of evidence against you. Look at Murdoch. You know, look at that case. There was a lot of evidence against him. And he's
what we also had to do is we had to OCR and number all the pages, and we'd have to say page 1,123 to page 1,130. Those are invoices connecting to the bathroom or whatever. So they may make them bait stamp the numbers, OCR so they're searchable, and provide them to the defense and say, for question number 6, see documents number 1,000 to 1,020, as opposed to having 10,000 documents you have to look through, which to me is fair. To me is fair. The reports include items from the FBI laboratory in Quantico, Virginia, as well as the Idaho State Police Lab. The defendant's attorneys and investigators have also been given direct.
New poll at the top. Do you think that BK will plead guilty or innocent on Monday? Smash that poll up there. Let's see what we got by the end of the poll. Guilty or innocent? Already we're at 13% guilty, 90% innocent. Let's keep rolling.
Access to view and inspect items seized from his parents' residence, including his vehicle.
Let's do this.
The state will continue.
At 200 upvotes, at 200 likes, I'm going to give away another free membership. Let's get that to 200.
Continue to disclose additional reports it receives that are subject to discovery under ICR 16
Let's do this.
And applicable case law. To the extent that the defense believes that certain reports may contain exculpatory information. Here we go. To the extent that the defense believes that certain reports may contain, and here's in quotes, that's why I put it in our title in quotes, exculpatory information.
Exculpatory, I said it.
The state asks that the defense specify what exculpatory information they're referring to and the basis for their belief. And again, the state has a right to know if there's exculpatory evidence. They should know. Maybe they don't know. Maybe it'll make a difference in their charging decision. Maybe they'll drop the case. Maybe they'll drop the charges.
We think the
but again, it's not hide the ball. If there's something specific you think is exculpatory, just tell us. And if we have it, we'll provide it to you because we don't want to have a Brady violation here. We don't want to violate the rules. So as to enable the state to make any appropriate additional inquiries. That's totally fair. Regarding the defendant's request labeled 2A, in addition to the above response, the state has inquired of the defense for clarification on ISB lab reports by number. So if you have a question about a specific report, let us know which one. Let's be specific here so we can help each other help each other.
Exculpatory, I said it.
since there is a question about some duplicate
When we
numbering
get to
of the initial
200
lab
likes,
reports.
I'm going to give away a free
ISP lab
membership.
reports are separately
1
numbered by
month free on me. 1 month free on
forensic
me.
biology, DNA,
200.
prints, and forensic field services. The state has already been able to advise defense counsel that there is an ISP lab report number 25, which has been discovered, and there is another ISP report 11, which is pending review and approval at the lab. To assist the parties, the state has initiated specific inquiries about the status of all ISP lab reports and will make discovery to the defense as appropriate. So, what do we learn there? By the way, the word has been discovered or will make discovery means turned over to the defense in the discovery process.
Right.
So, we learn here that the reports have numbers. We need to be specific, but we also learn that there are reports like this ISP lab report 11, which have not been provided to the defense. It's pending review, and they'll only discover to the defense as appropriate. So there may be discussion at a hearing with a judge. What makes it appropriate? If they're doing lab testing, we should get a copy of it, just like the blood spatter in Murdoch. If it doesn't go their way and they're doing testing, we should get a copy of it. The state has provided recordings of MPD Detective Payne's interview with Mr. Kohberger to the defense. Ding, ding, ding. There's another confirmation that there is an interview with Mr. Kohberger with the Moscow Police Department, Detective Payne. Now, what's in that? I don't know. Will we ever see that? I don't know. Do you remember it being referenced at all in any other documents?
No.
About what Kohberger actually said? I did not.
No.
And that's part of the gag order.
We heard rumors. The rumor that was floating around was that he was interviewed and within 10 minutes, he lawyered up. So he's not stupid. He's not stupid in that sense. He wasn't going to talk. But that was the rumor that was out there. And it's based just rumor. It's not fact. It's not in a document. But we may hear about it in trial.
That's what makes interesting. So I will say, as much as I'll say nothing burger and whatever, we get another body cam footage. We didn't really learn a lot. It is interesting to see Kohberger's interaction with law enforcement. I think 3 times we've seen it now, pulled over for different traffic violations.
It's funny. Someone made a good point the other day that they said that, how thorough he was in the body cam footage that we saw in October and how thorough he was asking that police officer about the law, the law of stopping. And they said, gee, I wonder if he was just doing that to gauge the law to know, allegedly on this night of the crime that he wouldn't commit any crimes, a moving violation to get him in any type of trouble when he was either coming or fleeing from the scene. And that's just all alleged. But it was a really, really good point. And I said, well, maybe. Laura's checking in. She says, that was in PA where he lawyered up. I believe the interview with Payne was prior to him going to PA. All right. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that on Saturday. So you're not going to want to miss that. On Saturday, we need 4 more likes, and then I'm going to gift away a membership. I may stop this portion of it and get more to the indictment streams that he did. They were too small, 20 minutes and 20 minutes a piece. So maybe we'll finish up with that in a couple of minutes. But yeah, smash that like button.
Smash.
All right, let's keep playing through here. Let's get through this.
So his interactions there tell me that in this case, his interaction with law enforcement is probably something similar.
2 more likes.
So we'll see. The state will.
By the way, where's everybody from? Drop it in the chat. What I'm trying to do, I'm going to be honest with everybody. If you all can do this, this would be great. I'm trying to get postcards from everybody. And I'm going to leave my post office box in the chat. I'd love to get some postcards from you guys. So when I get into an actual working studio, my plan is to put them all on the wall behind me or build like some kind of collage with it. So my post office box is 11 Robert Toner Boulevard. That's Suite 5, number 377 in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, 02760. It'd be really great if you all could send me some postcards where you're all from. And one day when I have an actual working studio, I'm going to get them all, like I said, behind me and do like a collage. So
Will provide any related reports and or notes as they are received and reviewed. So here's the question. Are there notes and reports that are related to this interview that they have not provided?
Roger in the house.
And if there are, let's argue about whether or not the state should have to turn them over,
just go down,
or whether or not they should be protected or privileged or whatever it may be. But they're kind of admitting the existence of certain things the defense doesn't have. As with item 1 above, the state has provided the defense with reports, audio, video, and other recordings relating to the defendant's arrest and incarceration in Pennsylvania that have been received by the state.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to pause and get out of this because now, you know, it'd be 3 days ahead of this. So if you all want to go back and watch the completion of the stream, you can. I'm sure you probably all have watched it. Australia in the house. Awesome. There's the link for that too. So let's now fast forward 2 days. We have Peter Stream. He goes live for about 20 minutes and says, sources say that Kohberger will be indicted by the grand jury. So let's see what he has to say about that. And then he actually came back a little while later and did another 20-minute stream and talked about he's now been indicted. So let's get his points on this. Let's play.
To see lawyers and clients trying to go back on things that they signed for certain legal reasons or strategic moves, and then responses by lawyers to lawyers calling each other out. That's going to be this afternoon, because right now we're going to discuss I don't know if it's breaking news. I don't know if it's sources say. I don't know if it's confirmed, but it seems to all be.
We're so close. I'm at 4891 subs right now. I'm so close to 5,000. If you're over here for the first time, smash that subscribe button. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to get ready to give away a free membership here. We've got to 200 likes this evening. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. All right. Let's give away a membership. A member. We're gonna get a new member this evening. All right, and the new member is let's see. It takes forever to show me. Freja, new member. All right, playing. Thank you for those likes, guys. I appreciate you.
To the fact that maybe there will be no preliminary hearing for Bryan Kohberger in June.
Coming to the stream.
But instead, he will be indicted by a grand jury, or already has been indicted by a grand jury. That's the other interesting part about this.
Hopefully
this could have already happened and we don't know.
I hope so.
And it seems like we might find out more Monday, May 22nd. Which is a date we already know.
The big board.
Everybody's available because we're supposed to have that scheduling conference on that day. And when immediate things pop up, it just so happens that lawyers and clients and everybody ends up being available, which is part of the media's argument when they were saying, why do we have to wait so long to just schedule the hearing to see if this gag order is legit or not? And I actually think there may be some crossover with the delay in making a decision in the gag order so that it can't even go up to the Supreme Court in time. There may be some connection to that with this grand jury proceeding happening, the preliminary hearing going away, and potentially us moving forward with the real criminal case May 22nd. So a bunch of different things to talk about with this. So hit that like button if you just got here. Nobody probably knows about this live. This was not planned. Anybody that missed the live, I apologize. We did not have any time to plan it. I saw it this morning, literally laying in bed, everybody tagging me in tweets. Follow us, Tragos Law, on Twitter, because this is how I find out a lot of this stuff. I don't have sources. I don't have my ear to the ground, interviewing people involved with Bryan Kohberger. I have the chat, I have all the people out there that just have questions about this process. And when you have questions,
yes,
I like
get to 5,000
to give answers where I can. Right. And that's how we're here. So if you like that, subscribe to our channel as well.
Such a great
number. What does this mean? It means a couple
number.
Different things. First, If he is indicted by the grand jury, there will be no preliminary hearing. Okay. I think everybody understands that at this point. We've kind of beat that point to death. But what if the state loses at the grand jury? Can they then go to preliminary hearing? Well, the answer is no, not on these charges, not on this case, because it will actually be dismissed. But that is not a victory for Bryan Kohberger, because the state can refile these same charges or new charges with new or different or additional evidence. And then they can start this process over again. They can choose a preliminary hearing. They can choose a grand jury. So there's no real risk to the state here. And that's why we talked about what evidence will they produce? What will they not produce? What are they going to hold close to the vest? Do they really want to show
we got a
Bryan
gifted
Kohberger and his
membership.
team?
We got a gifted membership. Gifted membership. Crime Solver has gifted a membership to Crazy Grandma. Crazy Grandma is a monthly member. Want to up your month? You can do that when it expires and continue to support the channel. I appreciate you all. If it's the first time over here, please make sure to subscribe. Slam that bell notification. Turn your notifications on so every time I go live, you know. And if it's first time in here, smash the like button. We love those likes. We love the likes. We love the likes.
Smash.
All right.
Exactly how they're going to present everything, because we've talked about data.
Oh, just to let everybody know, if you are a monthly member and you want to join our Discord group, I will post on the community page to members only. It's a exclusive group to paid members. It'll get you into the Discord group, and you can chat with us. And we have some really, really great chats, a lot of productive, great chats about this case.
Dumps and discovery, 10,000 pages, 51 terabytes. But in the preliminary hearing, at least some of that would have been honed down for them to show what they're going to use and how they're going to use it. Well, now that's gone. There's no need to play it close to the vest with the grand jury, because those proceedings are done in secret. We won't know what happens. At least usually we don't know what happens. Sometimes in Murdoch, things come out where we find out they said something to the grand jury that might not have been true. And you remember Dick Harpootlian questioning one of the law enforcement officers about that and about the grand jury proceedings. Now, certain judges won't let you ask any questions about it.
We may hit 40.
We may never know what's ever presented in front of the grand jury. And while we talked about what would happen if the state lost there or no probable cause was found, that is very, very unlikely. The chances of the state losing or not having the grand jury find probable cause and getting their indictments is slim to none.
There you go.
So I would expect, if it hasn't happened yet, that the grand jury will in fact move for an indictment or rule or vote for an indictment, probable cause for the indictment. And that's what we will probably be hearing on May 22nd. Now, some timing with the gag order. And actually, I have something from a tweet from one of the people we love here.
My page
that I'm going to
sorry about that freeze.
That I'm going to show here that is actually some evidence that this is probably happening based on the record. And we're going to play that in a second. But when it comes to the gag order, the media has been trying to push this. They say irreparable harm is being done. And they say that we need to know this stuff. The public needs to know this stuff. While the preliminary hearing may be done in secret, this entire case shouldn't be done in secret. And the state and the defense are like, oh, come on. There's not irreparable harm. We've got an expert to talk about how this is affecting the case. Let's keep delaying it. Both sides basically don't want to have this hearing yet on May 22nd. And to me,
okay, what happened? Something happened to someone's comment. So this was not on purpose. The comment was deleted by accident. So let's just calm the chat. We'll make sure everybody understands that. I just got a message from one of my moderators. It was not done on purpose. They just messaged me and let me know. So Danielle, you're good. Don't worry about anything. It was by accident. So I just got a message. Thank you, moderators, for reaching out to me. Our apologies. You're good. You're always very good in here. So it was done by accident. It was done by accident. Let's just clarify that. So there's nothing wrong. But we wanted to just clarify that for you. So keep chatting. You're good. Let's see. Robin says, hey, we're neighbors. Didn't realize we're neighbors from Westport. Hey, welcome into the chat, Robin. You look like a new name here. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that.
The fact that this is all happening while they're making these same arguments may be indicative that
you're all good.
They knew this was coming. And and while it's done in secret, the defense does know about the process. Sometimes they'll even tell us if it's a case like this, hey, we're going to go to the grand jury. So we may know, even though we can't be in there, we can't object. We do get information that happens there. We do get some transcripts of what happens there. There is some stuff that we do know about what happens and what they present to the grand jury. That's part of the discovery process. But the public is not hearing anything about this, and they don't know anything about this, which just makes me think it's already done. If the public is starting to know, my guess is it's already done. And the fact that the gag order is being extended, and now we're going to have a hearing scheduling a motion to argue about the gag order potentially on the same day that we are going to hear that Bryan Kohberger was in fact indicted by a grand jury. There are official charges. That's very interesting to me. And I don't like to call shenanigans or shadiness or things like that with the court. And I'm not saying that's what's going on here. But the timing is very strange to me, especially because the state and probably the defense know that this is happening. And that's what I kind of think is the interesting part about the gag order. And what else happens on May 22nd if the grand jury does, in fact, find probable cause and he is indicted on May 22nd? Well, that starts the clock for a speedy trial. If Bryan Kohberger does, in fact, demand a speedy trial, the clock will start on May 22nd.
Right.
So when we get to
You're welcome.
Situations,
no worries, Danielle. You're
like
good.
the grand jury versus the preliminary hearing, from the beginning, he could have demanded a speedy preliminary hearing, which maybe it would have happened that way, or maybe they just would have done the grand jury sooner. But by waiving his right to a speedy preliminary hearing, it extended this discovery period. And we know that discovery's been going on. We know that the state has been provided new reports. We know that there's still reports being analyzed by the lab and giving them to the state.
All right. So this is kind of where Peter was pre-indictment. This was the stream that he did pre-indictment. He left and then he came back later that day on the day that Bryan Kohberger was indicted. What I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over to that video. That video is only about 20 minutes, and that's going to take us right up to the end of the stream. So let's play that. Let's see his reaction when he hears about the indictment. See his tone. I want to see his tone when he... Oh shit, there's music.
We're back again to talk about Bryan Kohberger, who has officially been indicted. Arraignment seems like it's going to be on Monday. We will hear his plea. Will it be guilty? Will it be not guilty? I assume it's going to be not guilty. Will he waive his speedy trial rights? I think he shouldn't. I think he should demand speedy trial because he can always waive it later.
And my apologies. I meant up there at the top of the chat, it should have been guilty or not guilty, but I think you guys understand what I mean. 115 votes up there. We have 14% guilty. 14% of you think that he's going to plead guilty, and 86% of you think that he will plead not guilty. I meant to say not guilty. Can I mimic Peter? Okay, let's play.
Keeps the pressure on the prosecution, forces them to give all the discovery as quickly as possible. They've already provided some. Defense thinks they're not providing certain things or even trying to hide certain things. They filed a motion to compel exculpatory evidence, which the prosecution puts in quotation marks. We've broken all that down, but the process is going to change a little bit now that he's been formally charged, and we believe the arraignment to be on Monday. So we're going to get into that. A lot of this is going to be Q&A because you guys had questions about what this means. So get your questions in now. John will star them up, and we will answer them in a few minutes. Some new documents have been filed. I did want to look at them as well. They just left my screen, so I don't know specifically where they are. So we can talk about them. They're pretty simple. But now that he's been indicted, we will talk about what is going to happen. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page, please. We bring you the content you guys ask about. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter because all you were asking for another video on this at Tragos Law. And that's why we're doing it. So he's indicted by the grand jury, no preliminary hearing. To some people's surprise, grand jury proceedings in Idaho are actually less common than preliminary hearings. The more common approach is to go forward to the preliminary hearing in front of a judge and get probable cause that way. It also probably didn't come as a surprise to the defense. I think they probably knew about it, and I think they were probably okay with it. They probably knew they were going to lose whether it's a grand jury proceeding or preliminary hearing. They also knew that when they waived his right to a speedy preliminary hearing, that at any moment, from the arrest of Bryan Kohberger to the preliminary hearing, the state could go and do this grand jury in secret. And while it isn't secret and there's no lawyer, no defense lawyer there, the state does have to present a balanced case, and they have to present exculpatory evidence if it exists for the defendant. Now, do they present it as zealously as a criminal defense attorney would on behalf of their client? No. Is anybody poking holes in their arguments? No. Is anybody cross-examining witnesses? No. But they do have to present at least some type of exculpatory evidence if it exists. Now, most of the time, there are...
I want people to understand here in the chat. So where we are at this point in the junction, and I really wish that some people would listen to a lawyer, this lawyer's perspective. Where we are at this juncture in this case is that this has been brought in front of a grand jury, and the totality of evidence leads them to believe that Bryan Kohberger is responsible for these murders. So they have looked at the totality of the evidence, and who knows, maybe they did have interviews with those witnesses. We don't know yet. We may never find out, but this is the evidence that's been presented. That's why we're at this point, at this particular point in the case. As far as the touch DNA, I see a lot of chatter in here about it. We're going to get to that on Saturday. So you're going to have to come back on Saturday if you want to watch what we have to say about that. We're going to prepare something for all of you, and we'll go through what we think, because we're not expert lawyers. We're not law enforcement or DNA experts. What we think, and we'll give you our opinion on that. So come back on Saturday. Before I end the stream tonight, I'll drop the link for that Saturday stream. That's Saturday Night Live. It's Super Saturday. We do about an hour of material, and then we take live calls at the end of the show. So
most of the time there are situations where the state is going to choose a grand jury over preliminary hearing, but they're going to win either way. And that's what I think this was. I also think that it's not as secret of a process in Idaho as you may think, because the defense can ask for and receive a transcript of the grand jury proceeding, of what the prosecution said, what they read, if any witnesses testified, what they said, what evidence was presented.
And I'll be at 4,900.
Now, in a grand jury proceeding, just to kind of explain what it's like, it's kind of like a normal jury trial where the prosecutor will pick an actual jury, seat a jury, explain to them what they have to do. They start the case, they read the evidence, they may make some arguments, and then the jury has to actually make a decision. And the decision they have to make is not whether he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but instead, was a crime probably committed, and did Bryan Kohberger probably commit it? Probable cause, a much lower bar than beyond a reasonable doubt. But why state attorneys sometimes will choose a preliminary hearing over a grand jury is it's cheaper, cleaner, easier. You don't have to pick a jury. You don't have to teach a jury. You don't have to explain to a jury what they have to do. You don't have to wait for a jury to come to a decision. So that's why sometimes they'll just go preliminary hearing.
We'll get it.
Also, what's interesting,
no worries, Sandra,
is if a witness testifies to in the grand jury proceeding, that can be public information. However, in this case, the new documents that were filed, that I don't think you care to see, because it simply is the state's motion to seal the list of witnesses that testified at the grand jury and the court ordering they're sealing. Now, what is interesting about that, and I guess I could pull it up here, because there is one interesting thing about this to me. Let's pull them up. Why not? We just read 30 pages. What's two more going to hurt? All right, so here's the motion to seal. Comes now, state of Idaho. Prosecuting attorney move this court to seal the names of all the witnesses examined before the grand jury. In support, the state respectfully represents to this court that it had received numerous complaints from potential or prospective witnesses or their families and associates regarding being harassed, both in person and via social media. The reports of harassment have included threats, as well as what appears to be intimidation.
So notifications, you have to make sure that your bell is completely on to get notifications. And just remember this too. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all the time. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always live on those nights. My schedule will change in the next upcoming weeks just for a little while. You're going to have to kind of search around and see what times I go live. But those are the standard nights that I do. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Given this and the broad publicity surrounding these proceedings, the state respectfully submits that releasing the names of these witnesses who appeared before the grand jury would invite additional harassment, intimidation, and possible threats, and undermine not only the integrity of this case, but the parties' prospective rights to a fair trial with an impartial jury. The state respectfully requests this court seal that witness list. This right here, ladies and gents, is
That's right.
a little bit of a precursor or a preview as to what we are going to see in this case. They are going to fight tooth and nail with arguments like this to block access. And it may be warranted because I don't want any witnesses to be intimidated or harassed or threatened. But this could be the argument made by the state. This could also be what the defense's expert is going to come in and testify about. And then we could see if the court just bans everything.
Right.
No cameras,
I don't think it's going to happen.
no audio equipment, no nothing.
I
Or
think
maybe
that they're
next
gonna-
day stuff like Lori Vallow.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a live feed. I think that we'll get probably some audio or video, and it will probably be, plugged after the court or the next day. So we want video, though. We all want video. You guys know that.
Because immediately, let's go ahead and
You can
jump
go back
to
and rewind, Chloe.
the order. The old
Actually did 2 streams today. 2 streams, 2-for-1 combo deal. I did one at 12 and I'm doing one now. I started this one at 8:30. I'm going to wrap this up in about 20 minutes and sign off for the evening. So let's hang out a little bit while longer and see what PETA has to say.
same day order, the judge grants this order. And what's also interesting about this order is we see down here, John C. Judge is a district court judge who is now taking over the case. And that's another thing that changes. The magistrate is no longer in charge. This is in the jurisdiction of the district court. He will be making the decisions now in this case.
Everybody,
which means
over and hangs out with us.
He will be looking. Yeah, right now it says, Penny for your thoughts. Right now it says video and audio delayed. I'm waiting to see if that holds true. We had that in the Vallow case, and then it got taken away.
Yep.
So I'm still waiting. I know what it says right now. I know the chat. I appreciate you guys letting me know. I know what it says. But if they're filing this motion, do you really believe that they would have had this preliminary hearing and not tried to seal it or keep things secret by making the same arguments? And that's tough for a judge not to agree to. So that's just my opinion where I'm kind of looking at this. I hope I'm wrong, just to be clear. But district court judge comes into play. What that could affect coming forward is the gag order. The magistrate's the one who wrote the gag order. The magistrate's the one who they originally or now are asking to amend or get rid of it. Now that's going to be a decision for this judge. He could throw it out. He could amend it. he could make it more strict, he could make it less strict, or he could write a completely new non-dissemination order that he finds to be appropriate. So usually judges want to agree with each other. They don't want to upset the milk carton. Is that what it is?
Apple
I don't
cart.
even know why I try with
The
those things.
milk cart.
But yeah, usually judges don't want to overrule things other judges do, and they have
Apple
respect
cart.
for each other. So I don't think he's going to just totally disregard what the prior judge did, but somebody just said the judge is a woman. I was like, wait. I knew it was Judge. No, I don't. I think John G.C. Judge. I'm confident that's a man.
It's a man.
Confident. But all right, let's get to your questions now. Some new members, Mama French and Lisa C.
Today.
Star Sorcerer. What type of people are on a secret jury? Been a member this week for 1 year. Thank you for all you do. That's awesome, Star Sorcerer. So the grand jury is picked in a very similar way that normal jurors are picked. You can show up for jury duty and you might not even know that you're going to get picked for a grand jury. In most jurisdictions, I should say. L, when will the indictment be released to the public, or will it be released? I believe it will be released. I just don't know when.
It already has. So they're a little bit behind.
Cat, will the public only see the evidence once it goes to trial? Possibly. We've seen that happen in other cases. These are some answers I just don't know yet. Google says 99.5% of defendants that get indicted get convicted. I don't think that's correct. I'm going
to Google that right now. Let's Google it right now. Oh, my Google's not working. I don't know what the hell's going on with my Google's all jammed up right now. All right, let's keep playing this. Let me see.
John, if indicted, do you still get a defense to protect yourself? I thought a grand jury is no defense. So if you get indicted, you have the defense that's defending you throughout the case. A grand jury does not decide guilt or innocence. They just decide probable cause if this case is going to continue forward. They decided yes, and they indicted him. This is still going to be a normal trial, and his defense team is still going to be able to defend him. It's also a way to keep all the information out of the public eye, correct? Mo, did they check to see if the jury knows about the case in a grand jury? So yes, but as you can imagine, it's not as strict or as crazy, but they do try to pick a fair and impartial juror for a grand jury as well. Yes. Whiskey.
Whoa.
Thank you so much for...
The relevant statistics shown that federal prosecutors are highly successful in convicting the vast majority of people indicted. In fact, about 97% of, this is a federal crime, federal criminals defendants end up taking a guilty plea. Let's see. Are 90% of the people charged in a crime? It says the defendant enters a plea to charges brought by the U.S. attorney at a court hearing known as an arraignment. More than 90% of the defendants plead guilty rather than go to trial. I'm not trying to find that out. I'm trying to find, maybe you guys can Google it for me. I don't want to slow the show down. Find out what is the percentage of a person is found guilty in a trial. You guys know what I'm getting at, but let's figure that out. Someone give me the percentage in the chat.
Walking us through all of these cases, do you think we will see the arraignment and pretrial hearings? I think because we already kind of saw something similar to the arraignment when the magistrate read his charges, I think it's possible we will see the arraignment pooled and showed on a delay. But I'd be surprised if they show us anything. I would have been surprised if they ended up showing the preliminary hearing or if they showed a trial at this point.
Find out that percentage.
Tracy, welcome to the membership crew.
Not federal. It came up federal. This is not a federal crime.
Will all of this be discussed on Monday when he makes his plea? So we will be discussing it here. I don't know what they're going to be discussing there just yet, but I expect him to plead not guilty. And then they have 60 days from his plea to decide whether or not they are going to file their notice of intent to seek the death penalty. So we will see if they intend to seek the death penalty soon as well. Welcome, Daphne.
Yeah, me too.
John, why or when would someone not want to defend themselves without an attorney for defense? Better question. When has this worked ever? So Deshaun Watson, actually, if you remember way back when we covered that, the grand jury found not to indict him, which was interesting in multiple jurisdictions. So it does happen. This was not the defendant's choice. This was the prosecutor's choice. They chose preliminary hearing, and now they've changed their mind and gone before a grand jury, which is their prerogative.
That probably
and again, this is not the final trial. This is just to find probable cause.
Totality of that. 82.
Does the state went to the grand jury in order to protect
you,
the surviving
Sandra.
roomies from meeting the
Sandra,
defense team before trial? It's possible. There's lots of reasons they could have gone this route.
Anybody wants to get in touch with me,
Kat, where does he go
leave
from
my
here?
email address
Will he stay in the same
below.
jail or be transferred to a prison or somewhere else? I think he's going to stay in the same jail as they prepare for trial with his defense team. Regan, if he is...
And I'd love to see postcards where you guys are all from. Send me your postcards. Send me a postcard.
Tried in front of a grand jury. He is not tried in front of a grand jury. He's just tried in front of a jury of his peers, which is the same thing, but a grand jury is just a different process to indict, not to convict. Is it the same as Casey Anthony and he cannot be tried again? So this grand jury is totally separate from the actual jury trial. This is just to find probable cause, which they've done. He will have a normal jury trial if he wants one. He will get his day in court like Casey Anthony. And if he wins, no double jeopardy. He cannot be tried again.
Right, can't be tried again.
Carissa, why didn't they convene a grand jury in the beginning? I don't know. Prosecutorial decision. Laura M. Question. If your defense, how vigorously are you fighting to keep the trial from being live streamed? Because I'd fight like hell. I probably would too. Because I think the court of public opinion is condemning him. I think it's only going to be bad for your case. So I would do everything I could. And especially if the prosecution's with me, we don't want witnesses intimidated on both sides. We don't want poisoning of the jury pool for people convicting him before they ever even show up. So I would fight. We definitely need don't upset the milk carton merch. You're the best. When you say it, when you write it like that and I read it out loud, it just seems even dumber.
That's hilarious.
Robin Noel. Question. Now that things have changed, what will Monday mean? Enters a plea, then set a trial date, or is there other steps I'm missing? Thanks, Peter. I love this place. So discovery is still going to happen. They're not going to set a trial date yet. They'll kick it out for another hearing. They may set a trial date at that hearing if he demands speedy trial within 6 months of him entering this plea and being arraigned. Within 60 days, we'll know about the death penalty, but depositions, documents, questions, discovery is going to happen, and we're going to be pushing towards a trial. Northern Ireland. It seems the grand jury process gives a huge advantage to the prosecution, so why would they ever not choose it? The preliminary hearing gives a huge advantage to the prosecution as well. They're way further ahead of the game. They have all the information the defense doesn't. The judge almost always agrees with them. So either way, they have a very high likelihood of success. But you're right, it is a bit one-sided, even though they do have to present the defense's exculpatory evidence if it exists. And the point is, they usually win either way, because it's their choice to bring this stuff. Nobody forces them to go forward on this case. If they don't feel like they have enough, they shouldn't go forward on it in the first place. So you have law enforcement, prosecutor's office coming to the same agreement before they ever even go to a grand jury or preliminary hearing. So I will say it is kind of difficult to do hours and hours of just boom, 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 these videos. My voice starts to feel it. My brain starts to feel it.
Yeah.
No notes, reading documents, reacting, answering questions, but it's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. I love the banter with you guys. You make it so enjoyable. You guys aren't miserable. You're not overly critical. I'm sure I misspeak all the time, mispronounce words, miss things as I'm reading, mess up questions you guys ask. So I appreciate the grace that you give me throughout these videos as well, because I know a lot.
And I do as well too. My sentiments to Peter, it's the same thing. The same thing here too. I appreciate it.
A lot is needed.
I'm not perfect.
So I want to say thank you for that. I know it's not perfect.
Yep.
And I appreciate you guys so much.
Yep.
I do appreciate that. All right. So I wanted to say that on the way out, but I'm done. I need a little break here. I got to get back to real work. I have about a couple hours left of that today. Yes, murder and burglary, Dana. Those are the same charges he was originally brought with and arrested for. Burglary is just entering a dwelling unlawfully with intent to commit a felony, which was the murder in this case. All right, hit that like button, everybody, and subscribe if you haven't. I'm out of here. Until tomorrow.
All right. That's Peter. Peter, listen, we love you over here on the Opinionated Idiot channel. My chat loves you. I love what you bring to the YouTube space. Listen, if you're watching this or you see my videos that I'm doing the reactions to them, I'd love for you to come on the panel and just give us 20 minutes. It'd be great. 20 minutes to a half an hour. Just speak to us. Let us know what you think in this case. Open invitation to you, sir. So the best thing to do, guys, if you want to see him over here, go to his videos. Go to his videos and comment and tag my name in the comment section. We'll get him over here We'll get him over here. Just start giving him some buzz over there. Say, hey, go check out the Opinionated Idiot. You should come over and hang on his channel. We'd love to have you over here. So, again, I'm going to end this stream for the evening before everybody heads out. I know everybody's going to start running out of here. I can't get to, I don't know what the hell's going on with my Google, but we have a Saturday stream that we're going to do. I'm going to update the community board for the new members if they want to get into the Discord group. I'll do that immediately as this live stream ends. Some reason I can't get over to Google. It's just pausing and spinning wheeling. I'm probably going to have to restart my computer. But if someone can, maybe one of my mods, if you can jump in, look on my board, and for Saturday's link, if you can drop that in the chat for me, that would be huge, because then everybody can come over, just hit their remind me button, be able to join us on Super Saturday, Saturday Night Live. Laura will be on the panel. We got a lot to go through. We're going to talk about the DNA evidence. We're going to talk a little bit more about this indictment and where it goes from there. Everybody, I appreciate everybody in the chat tonight that has hung out all the way through this. We're so close to getting to, and I can't even look right now, but we're at 4896, 4896. My email is theopinionatedidiot@gmail.com. If anybody wants to reach out to me, or you can reach me through my Facebook group or Twitter, whatever your preference. I post all my links after this. Thank you all so much. We'll be back on Saturday night. Take care of yourself. Oh, we forgot to get the results of the poll. Hang on. Let's get the results here. Let's get the results. Let's get the results. Get the results. Get the results. The poll. Do you think BK will plead guilty or not guilty on Monday? He's going to 86% say not guilty, 13% say guilty. We had 153 votes. Thank you all so much. We're on the surge for 5,000. We're on that surge for 5,000. We're so damn close. We're going to build this friggin' community, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'm at or over 10,000. 5,000, I can taste it. We're so close. 104 away. Hopefully by Monday, we'll be at 5,000. We'll do a celebration stream. Thank you all so much. I love all of you for coming over, smashing that like button, and all the new subscribers here to a factual channel here on YouTube. We don't give bullshit over here. We stick to the facts. We stick to the facts. I got to go. I got everybody throwing chats at me. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys all so much. Be safe. See you back here on Saturday. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful weekend. Bye.